beautiful couple on the, and yes, a lot of people have been asking questions. Considering that Queen Mercy has a child, a daughter, before getting married to Lord Lamba, adopt Princess KEILAH, or does Lord Lamba have automatic right of custody over Princess KEILAH? So, are not married, yet they have a child. Who has priority right of custody in that situation? That is the crux of our conversation tonight. And of course, riding on that, Queen Mercy, now that Princess KEILAH, according to him, those are the things I'd like to share some thoughts on tonight. Now, first off, I need to make the point that once a matter is before the court, the public no longer have rights to share opinion per se on that matter. All parties, everybody is supposed to allow the court to do its duty. That estoppel is so as not to overreach the outcome of the proceedings before the court. So, because of that, I may not be answering the question adoption or who may adopt. I may not really answer that question. But just to enlighten all of you, to enlighten all those whose minds are agitated over those posers, I'm not quite sure, but I think parties are have the child's right law of the various states. Some of them not quite in that nomenclature, but something similar. Any of them would consent before a child can be adult, neglected their parental responsibilities towards that child. So if a parent or parents have abandoned a child and somebody brings an application, cannot, in fact, their consent or otherwise will not really matter. Where they withhold consent, the court can go ahead, because at the crux of the powers of the court, the focus of the court, I've said this so many times, and I'm sure you've read it in on many platforms and heard it in many places. What the court is focused, it is in the best interest of that child or neglected that child and has not, behaved responsibly towards that child in the manner that his duties or his parental responsibilities of the woman. It can be any of the parties. And another thing that we need to note is that this adoption application for adoption, where it is made, whether by the man or the woman, the other will have to grant consent. What I mean is, as a spouse now wants to adopt the child of his or her spouse, the law says that they will need to obtain consent. I had said earlier that this is no longer now specific to Queen Mercy, Lord Lamba, and King David. Since I hear that the matter is already before court by way of an application for custody made by Lord Lamba. I don't know if my information is correct, but that's what I've heard. And if that is true, I will no longer restrict this conversation to that. This is a general enlightenment on the provisions of the law and will apply in every such circumstance. Now, what that means is that where this couple, one of them has a child and the other wants to adopt that child, because you know that the rights of his the rights of a stepchild are not quite the. A spouse may actually want to adopt the child of their spouse, so that that child will fully enjoy the rights of a child in that home, rights of inheritance and the rest of them. So where that happens, what the law says is that if the court considers that because of compelling circumstances, this matter will better be dealt with under, custody, or, involved in the child's life, the court will not grant the application for adoption. The court won't grant the adoption order. The court apply for custody, because these are all the ways one can have rights over a child. It can be by adoption, by having custody rights over that child, where that child, maybe of course by birth, where that child lives with both parents, or where the child is no longer living with both parents and one has to keep the child and there is no agreement between parties. One of them will have to get an order of court for custody to keep the child, including fostering, guardianship and all of the rest. Those are ways